Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are really tearing up the script on financial stability.
We really are.
I mean, if you've ever been told to live frugally, save 10% of your paycheck, and just wait 40 years for freedom, well, MJ DeMarco has a message for you.
He does. And that advice is, well, it's a complete illusion. He calls it the Great Deception.
The Great Deception. That's a strong phrase.
It's a very compelling argument, and, it's highly inflammatory. He looks at the traditional plan, the savings, the index funds, all that intense penny pinching, and he basically says it's a losing game. A
losing game built on a huge wager. You're betting your most valuable resource, your time, your youth, your freedom, on a future that's, it's distant and it's completely uncertain.
Yeah, the sacrifice is right now, but the payoff is decades away.
And it might never even come.
It might not. Or if it does, it arrives when you're maybe too old to really enjoy it. He gives this really tragic scenario of a guy named Joe. Joe did everything right, followed all the rules, saved religiously into his 401k, but then he died suddenly at 43.
Wow.
He traded the best years of his life for wealth he never, ever got to access. DeMarco says the slow lane demands a negative return on life.
Ouch. That really lands hard because it exposes the real human cost of just following the rules.
Exactly.
So our mission today is to unpack this whole challenge. We're going to define the three financial roadmaps: the sidewalk, the slow lane, and the fast lane.
Right. And we'll get into why the traditional path is, from a mathematical standpoint, fundamentally flawed.
And then we'll map out the actual actionable commandments for building substantial wealth and doing it rapidly while you're still vibrant enough to enjoy the freedom you earned.
So to start, you really have to identify which roadmap you're on right now, because that roadmap dictates your destination.
Okay.
The first one was sidewalk. This is the path of instant gratification.
This sounds like the live for today, worry about it tomorrow kind of mindset.
That's it exactly. The sidewalker is all about immediate pleasure. They often confuse wealth with just consumption.
The fancy car, the new phone every year.
Right. What DeMarco calls faux wealth. It looks good on the surface, but they're living paycheck to paycheck, or worse, paycheck to debt. The mindset is basically the plan is to have no plan.
So they're always just one emergency away from disaster, no matter how much they earn?
Precisely.
Okay, so that one's pretty easy to spot. But what about the slow lane? This is the path that pretty much every financial expert on TV preaches.
It is. Steady job, 401k, index funds, budget.
Delayed gratification.
It is. But DeMarco argues it's really just a roadmap to mediocrity. And it's because it relies on a mathematical constraint he calls uncontrollable limited leverage.
UL.
ULL, yeah.
Okay, let's spend some time on ULL because this feels like the linchpin. This is where all the conventional advice starts to break down. How is the wealth equation limited here?
It's limited because your main tool for building wealth, your income, is tied to two things you can't really scale. Your intrinsic value, which is basically your salary or your hourly wage, and time.
And there are only so many hours in a day.
Exactly. You can only work 24 hours a day, and your lifespan is finite. So your income can only grow linearly. You're trapped in what he calls the criminal trade.
The criminal trade.
Yeah, you're exchanging 5 days of your precious time for just 2 days of freedom every single week.
I see the time limitation for sure. But what about compound interest? Isn't that supposed to be the magic bullet, the great wealth accelerator?
That is the core argument for the slow lane, yes. But the fast lane critique is that compound interest is just. It's incredibly inefficient for creating wealth quickly.
Why? It works, right?
It works, but it's slow, and it relies on variables you just cannot control. Think about it. For compound interest to really work its magic, you need three things.
Okay.
You need a lot of time. We're talking decades. You need consistent market returns, which nobody can control. And you need a big pile of money to start with, which most people don't have.
So even if I am, say, a high-earning doctor and I'm maxing out my 401k, I'm still stuck in ULL.
You are.
Because my wealth is still capped by my salary and my freedom is capped by time. I'm still waiting decades for the market to do its thing.
Precisely. You are paying the highest possible price for money, your life. And this is where the fast lane comes in. It's a fundamental shift in thinking.
From consumer to producer.
Exactly. You move from being a passive consumer of things to an active producer of value.
Yeah.
This mantra is, to consume richly, you must first produce effectively.
And the very first step in making that shift is kind of redefining what wealth even means. It's not the toys.
It's not the toys. In fact, he argues that chasing faux wealth, all that materialism, it actively destroys what he calls the true wealth trinity.
The 3 Fs.
The 3 Fs. Family, which is your relationships, fitness, your health, and freedom, which is the ability to choose how you live your life.
So if your job makes you so stressed that your health suffers, or you work so much you never see your family, you're actually getting poorer.
You are getting poorer no matter how big your paycheck is.
Yet that reframes the entire goal then. True wealth is. It's health, relationships, and control over your own calendar. And fastlaners, they reject the idea that this outcome is about luck.
Completely. Luck might, put an opportunity in front of you, but execution is what turns it into wealth. Success in this view is the residue of process. It's not a lottery ticket.
Which leads directly into the actual mechanism of fastlane wealth, the law of affection.
Well, the law of affection. The idea is that your wealth grows in direct proportion to the number of lives you impact.
So you have to solve problems for lots of people.
From lots of people, or a huge problem for a few people. The impact is delivered in one of two ways: scale or magnitude.
Okay, scale versus magnitude.
Scale means serving millions of people with a small impact product. Think of $5 apps sold to a global audience. Magnitude means solving a huge, high-value problem for just a few clients, like specialized corporate law.
The key is that the impact is leveraged. It's not tied to your direct time.
Not at all. And this brings us back to the math. Instead of uncontrollable limited leverage, ULL, the fast lane operates on controllable unlimited leverage, or CUL.
And this is where the math just changes completely.
It goes from a limited linear function to an exponential one. The fast lane wealth equation is wealth equals net profit plus asset value.
And the variables that drive that net profit part are now totally in your control.
Exactly. Net profit units sold X unit profit. In the slow lane, you can't control your salary, your unit profit, or how many hours you work.
The units sold, yeah.
In the fast lane, you control your pricing, your marketing, your conversion rates, your costs. These are controllable and crucially unlimited variables.
Which is what allows for what he calls asymmetric wealth acceleration.
Yes. A small initial effort can multiply into vast wealth because the biggest limiting factor, your own time, has been removed from the equation. You aren't trading minutes for dollars anymore. You're building systems.
So the goal isn't to work hard for money. It's to work hard to create systems that work for you. This is the whole passive income thing, building the money trees.
That's the core idea. Money trees are just business systems that generate income and grow in value without your daily labor. And this is how fastlaners use their savings.
So it's not just sitting in an index fund.
No, they don't just rely on it compounding at 7% a year. They use that saved money as an army of freedom fighters. It's capital that they leverage to create more income, to build the system faster.
They're investing in their business, not just the market.
Primarily, yes.
So what are the best seeds for these money trees? Which systems give you the most passivity?
He rates them. The highest grade, passivity grade A, are things like rental systems.
Real estate, intellectual property licensing.
Yep. And right behind that, at a grade A-, are computer and software systems, especially internet businesses. They can scale globally, replicate for almost no cost, and operate 24/7. They're perfect candidates for CUL.
But just having an idea for one of these isn't enough. It has to pass this really strict filter he has, the 5 fastlane commandments, or sense.
Absolutely. If an idea violates even one of these, he says it's probably a dead end. This is what separates a real fastlane business from just another job.
Okay, let's go through them. The first one is control. Why is that non-negotiable?
Because if you don't control your business, you don't control your financial future. It's that simple. You need to control your product, your pricing, your revenue.
So you shouldn't hitchhike, as he calls it.
Exactly. Don't build your entire business selling products only on Amazon or making money only from YouTube ads. That platform can change its rules overnight and just wipe you out. You have to own the infrastructure.
Which connects to the next one, entry. And this one's a bit counterintuitive. You'd think you want low barriers to entry.
You'd think so, but paradoxically, no. High entry barriers are a good thing. The commandment of entry says that if starting the business is as easy as, buying a $200 starter kit.
And that everyone is doing it.
Everyone is doing it. The road is already jammed with traffic. Low barriers mean huge competition, which crushes your profits. You want a path that's a little difficult because that discourages the crowd.
That is a fascinating way to look at it. Okay, next is need.
This is maybe the most fundamental one. The business has to solve a real, genuine problem, a market need. Fastlaners stop chasing money and they start chasing problems.
Be someone's savior.
That's the quote. The biggest mistake entrepreneurs make is falling in love with an idea that only they care about. If no one needs what you're selling, it doesn't matter how great it is.
And the fourth one, time, brings us right back to that idea of CUL.
It absolutely does. The business has to be able to run without you. It needs to be systemized, automated. If the money stops the second you stop working,
You haven't built a business, you've just built yourself a job.
a very demanding job. This is that core divorce, separating your labor from the profits. The money tree has to produce fruit, even when you're not there watering it.
Makes sense. And finally, scale.
Scale is all about leverage. He says, tiny habitats create tiny wealth.
So if your business is stuck being hyperlocal and can't be replicated or expanded, you're limited.
Severely limited. You have to have the potential for huge market reach, which is scale, or for really significant profit magnitude selling very expensive, high-value things. Serving 10 clients a year just isn't enough.
So if a business idea passes the sense test, it's viable. And he points to 3 interstates that usually adhere to sense: the internet, innovation, and intentional iteration.
Right, like franchising. The internet is a perfect example. You can have full control, entry has technical barriers, it has to solve a need, it can be automated, and it has global scale. It ticks all 5 boxes.
Okay, so now we have the framework. But like you said before, ideas are worthless without action.
He's pretty brutal about that. He says execution is the actual speed. He advises entrepreneurs to burn the business plan. Ignite execution.
So a track record of doing something, even if it's mediocre, is better than a perfect plan that's just sitting on a hard drive.
Far more valuable. The market gives you feedback. Customers tell you what works. That's so much faster than just theorizing in a boardroom.
And once you are executing, the learning can't stop. You have to keep upgrading your skills, changing that dirty, stale oil.
Yeah, if you stop learning, you stagnate. What you knew to get to 100,000 in revenue is not what you need to know to get to 10 million.
And a lot of that learning should be guided by your customers.
Especially from what he calls complaints avoid.
A complaint avoid? What is that?
It's when a customer complains about something your product doesn't do, or a feature you don't have.
Ah, so it's a gap.
It's a gold mine. It's a flashing sign pointing directly at an unmet need in the market. It's free R&D.
So you have to be agile, you have to be learning, and you have to be focused. He warns against Teckle syndrome, right? Trying to do too many things at once.
He does. The advice is monogamy over polygamy. Build one strong, dominant brand, one real Fastlane asset, before you even think about diversifying. If you spread your energy too thin, nothing ever gets off the ground.
And finally, you have to know your destination. You can't just be chasing some abstract number.
You need to calculate your escape number. Define the exact cost of the lifestyle you want, and then figure out the capital base required to support it passively. It forces you to be intentional.
And to manage all that, you can't just hand it off to somebody. You have to be financially literate yourself.
You have to be.
Yeah.
You have to be competent enough to judge the advice you're given and manage the systems you build.
So we've really covered the whole spectrum here, from the constrained math of the Slowlane, where you're trading your time for a capped income,
To the exponential, controllable math of the Fastlane, where you build leverage systems for freedom. Wealth isn't an accident. It's a mathematical outcome of the system you choose.
which brings us all the way back to that promise, the promise of the Slowlane, security and wealth in retirement.
A promise that is built on so many things you can't control. Your future health, market stability, whether your job even exists in 20 years.
So this really raises a critical question for you, the listener.
It does. If wealth is simply a mathematical process, a choice between uncontrollable limited leverage and controllable unlimited leverage, what is the true cost of continuing to bet your life on a Slowlane plan that, by its very nature, denies you control? Are you willing to mortgage your most valuable asset, time today, in exchange for a gamble on an uncertain, distant future that someone else designed for you? The roadmap is a choice, and only one of them offers you the levers of control.